What is up, guys? My name is Krooked, and today we're going to be reviewing Shovel Knight Specter of Torment for the Nintendo Switch. Now, here's the rules for how we're going to get our score. First up, we're going to be covering the controls of the game. Then, we'll take a look at the visuals. From there, we'll go over the general mechanics and replayability of the game, and we'll wrap all that up with how faithful it is to the genre and give it a final score. Now, I do want to let everyone know, because this is a game review, there may be some spoilers, so keep a lookout for that. A little backstory on this follow-up game to the widely successful Shovel Knight. You are Donovan, an apparent thief trying to get a gem of power, and you're captured by the evil enchantress and forced to gather 8 knights for her deadly Order of No Quarter, which is probably the least deadly name I've ever heard for anyone, but hey, you know, whatever. And the reason why you do that is you're trying to fulfill your wish of coming back to life. Now, with this game being a prequel, I personally think it's always difficult to keep the story consistent and still maintain great gameplay. So, let's see how it does. Upon picking up Specter Knight, I'm immediately greeted with a familiar control scheme that all platformers have had for ages. B is jump, Y is attack, and the other buttons have purposes later in the game, whether it be using a new item or just checking your gear. You also have the choice between analog control or the directional buttons, and I found myself switching between both, but I did prefer the directional buttons for precise movements, which I'm sure many of you feel the same about. And if you've played basically any platforming game, this does fit like a glove. If you haven't, this is a great example of what to expect. In terms of learning these controls, I'm sure there's an instruction book or a control option somewhere, but what makes Specter of Torment stand out is its ability to teach you how to play, that we'll get into a little bit more later. All of the controls are incredibly responsive and feel great the entire time, which made it a really enjoyable experience to play with those controls. And for controls, we have to give Specter of Torment a righteous 10 out of 10. Right off the bat, you are hit with the beautiful retro images that you're used to from the era of the Nintendo Entertainment System. Yacht Club Gaming has spoken out numerous times about how difficult it is to use the NES palette, and it is very obvious with games from that era, but they pull it off masterfully. With each individual outfit you can get for Specter Knight, you see the mastery of the palette pulled off. However, like on the NES and even with the greats of the day like Mega Man, there are times when Specter of Torment falls victim to platforms blending with the backgrounds, causing confusion as to where to jump next. There's also a few times where a disappearing floor mechanic is used, and while it was done well in Shovel Knight and was actually really fun to play around with, in Specter of Torment, it does feel like an annoyance and it could have been done a little bit better. For visuals, I'm giving Specter of Torment an 8 out of 10. This is where Specter of Torment really differs from most platforming games. In Mega Man, you run, jump, and shoot. In Contra, you run, jump, and shoot. In Shovel Knight, you have a slashing attack, and in Strider, you have a slashing attack. In Specter of Torment, not only do you have a slashing attack, and you run and jump, but Yacht Club Gaming introduced a new mechanic where you slash through objects diagonally, and, depending on where you're at, whether above or below it, you'll go in a different direction. Combine this with a 3-step wall climb, and you have a character that is moving up and down and all around the entire time. The use of this mechanic is a requirement in the game, and you're taught how to do it at the very beginning, where Specter of Torment ensures that you have a grasp of it because of how important this really is. Every single boss does require use of this technique, and so do most of the levels. There are moments where it can be a little frustrating because of the direction you're in, or because it's forced upon you and you don't always go where you want to go. But other than that, the mechanic works exactly how it's intended to, and brings a fresh new face to the genre. Hitboxes of characters are appropriately placed, and the timing of actions works incredibly well. Every single button press that I had was an immediate response, I didn't notice any lag. The game does have a grinding mechanic that reminds me of Sonic Advance for the Game Boy Advance that was pretty easy to work with, and only threw me off a time or two. Interestingly though, The left Joy-Con issues that absolutely plagued me and others during The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild didn't happen to me once during my entire 4.5-hour playthrough of Specter of Torment. Which I thought that was interesting because I didn't do anything different than I did with Zelda. And the game also does have amiibo functionality, but I don't have any of the Shovel Knight amiibos, so I didn't really test it out, and I didn't try with any of the other amiibos. But I'm sure it does do something awesome in the game. For mechanics, Specter of Torment is getting an awesome 9 out of 10. For most gamers, replayability is a huge factor. We spend a ridiculous amount of money on the games we play, and if we only get to enjoy them once, it tends to leave a sour taste in our mouth. Specter of Torment is about a 4-hour game, and I personally got an 80-something% in it, so it could easily be 100% in about 6 hours. However, it is only $9.99 as a standalone game, and owners of Shovel Knight did receive it for free as well. The game itself is fun, and when you beat it, it does offer a New Game Plus mode that makes it more difficult by combining your will and darkness into one, so every ability you use now costs health. While this does bring new challenges to the game, unless you're a speedrunner or you absolutely have to get 100% on every game, it doesn't offer anything else new in New Game Plus, and there were no new story points that I was able to find, which was a little bit of a letdown because New Game Plus is something that you really expect a little bit more in than just the same game a little bit harder. For replayability, Specter of Torment is taking a 6 out of 10. Specter of Torment is your classic style platformer, and it's something that so many games get wrong. From the 3D style platformers like Zack Zero to even the Sonic series and 2D games like Giana Gem Sisters, developers have been struggling to find a good balance for a platformer that not only blends great mechanics and controls, but also provides compelling gameplay. Specter of Torment nails this in every single way for a platformer to be able to. From the very beginning of the game to the very end, Specter of Torment is a fun, challenging, yet enjoyable platformer that, like its predecessor and sequel Shovel Knight, is a perfect modern-day example of a platformer that other games should take notes from. Overall, Shovel Knight Specter of Torment may be a modern attempt at retro, but it definitely fits into the 80s and 90s like a glove. From its thrilling gameplay, great visuals, Princess Bride references, hidden areas, and numerous other secrets along the way, following the compelling storyline that follows Donovan the Specter Knight, it's a fun and thrilling ride that's fantastic for fans of the series, and I personally feel this is the best game to come into the series on. Overall, we're giving Specter of Torment an 8.6. Now, this is more than just a review, it's also a discussion, so like this video if you agreed with this review, and let us know in the comments below why you agree or disagree. Share this review with your friends who are interested in Specter of Torment or the Shovel Knight series in general, and we'll go ahead and see you guys in our next review. And for a hint, I think it has something to do with a little fairy boy. See you then, guys! Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you'd like to check out another review I did, go ahead and click the link on the left. If you'd like to see another FTN media video, click the link on the right. If you liked me and you want to see more of my own personal content, go ahead and check out my channel at the bottom link right there. And don't forget to click the subscribe button right in the center so that way you don't miss any future FTN content.